Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, where I talk about all things related to technology, science, and innovation. In today's video, I'm going to tell you the amazing story of how the internet came to be, how it evolved over time, and how it changed the world forever. But before we get into that, I have a question for you. Do you know what the first message ever sent over the internet was? If you think you know the answer, leave a comment below and I'll reveal it at the end of the video. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. So, what is the internet? Well, in simple terms, the internet is a global network of computers and devices that can communicate with each other using a common set of rules and protocols. But how did this network come into existence? And how did it grow from a few connected machines to billions of users and devices around the world? Well, to answer that, we have to go back in time to the 1950s, when the Cold War was at its peak and the threat of a nuclear war was looming over the world. The United States and the Soviet Union were engaged in a fierce competition for technological and military supremacy, and both sides were developing powerful weapons and systems to gain an edge over the other. One of these systems was the Sputnik, the world's first artificial satellite, launched by the Soviet Union in 1957. This event shocked the US and sparked a new wave of interest and investment in science and technology, especially in the fields of space exploration and communication. One of the agencies that was created as a result of this was the Advanced Research Projects Agency, or ARPA, which was tasked with developing cutting-edge technologies for the US military. One of the projects that ARPA funded was the development of a computer network that could withstand a nuclear attack and allow different military and research institutions to share information and resources. This network was called the ARPANET, and it was the precursor of the internet as we know it today. The ARPANET was designed by a team of computer scientists and engineers from various universities and companies, such as UCLA, Stanford, MIT, IBM, and AT&T. The main challenge they faced was how to connect different types of computers and systems that used different languages and formats. To solve this problem, they came up with the idea of using packet switching, a technique that breaks down data into small units called packets, which are then sent over the network and reassembled at the destination. They also developed a standard protocol for communication, called the Network Control Protocol, or NCP, which defined how the packets were formatted, addressed, and routed. The ARPANET was officially launched on October 29, 1969, when the first node, a computer at UCLA, was connected to another node, a computer at Stanford. The first message ever sent over the network was "Lo," which was supposed to be "login," but the system crashed after the first two letters. Despite this glitch, the experiment was a success, and soon more nodes were added to the network, including computers from UC Santa Barbara, the University of Utah, and the University of Illinois. By the end of 1971, there were 15 nodes on the ARPANET, and by the end of 1972, there were 37. The network also expanded beyond the US, with connections to the UK and Norway. The ARPANET was not only used for military and research purposes, but also for social and educational purposes. The users of the network started to exchange messages, files, and programs, and to create online communities and groups. One of the most popular applications that emerged on the ARPANET was email, which was invented by Ray Tomlinson in 1971. He also introduced the use of the @ symbol to separate the username and the host name in an email address. Another popular application was Telnet, which allowed users to remotely access and control other computers on the network. And another one was FTP, which allowed users to transfer files from one computer to another. The ARPANET continued to grow and evolve throughout the 1970s and 1980s, and so did the technology and the protocols that supported it. One of the most important developments was the introduction of the TCP/IP protocol suite, which replaced the NCP protocol in 1983. TCP/IP stands for Transmission Control Protocol and Internet Protocol, and it is the foundation of the Internet as we know it today. TCP/IP is a set of rules that defines how data is divided, addressed, transmitted, routed, and received on a network. It also allows different networks to communicate with each other, creating a network of networks, or an internetwork, which is where the term Internet comes from. The adoption of TCP/IP enabled the ARPANET to connect with other networks, such as the CSNET, which was created for computer science departments, the NSFNET, which was created for academic and research institutions, and the MILNET, which was created for military purposes. These networks, along with many others, formed the backbone of the Internet, and allowed more and more users and devices to join the network. By the end of the 1980s, there were over 100,000 computers connected to the Internet, and by the end of the 1990s, there were over 100 million. But the internet was not only about connecting computers and networks, it was also about connecting people and information. And one of the most revolutionary inventions that made this possible was the World Wide Web, or the web for short. The web was created by Tim Berners-Lee, a computer scientist working at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, in 1989. He wanted to create a system that would allow researchers to share and access information across the internet, using a simple and intuitive interface. He came up with the idea of using hypertext, a way of linking documents and data using keywords and references, and creating a web of information that users could browse and navigate. He also developed the first web browser, the first web server, and the first web page, which explained what the web was and how it worked. The web was based on three main technologies that are still in use today: HTML, HTTP, and URLs. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is the language that is used to create and format web pages. HTML uses tags and attributes to define the structure and the content of a web page, such as headings, paragraphs, images, links, etc. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and it is the protocol that is used to communicate between web browsers and web servers. HTTP defines how web browsers request web pages and how web servers respond to those requests. URLs stand for Uniform Resource Locators, and they are the addresses that are used to identify and locate web pages and other resources on the web. URLs consist of three parts: the protocol, the domain name, and the path. The web was initially intended for academic and scientific purposes, but it soon became popular among the general public, thanks to the development of more user-friendly and graphical web browsers, such as Mosaic, Netscape, and Internet Explorer. The web also gave rise to new types of online content and services, such as search engines, e-commerce, social media, online gaming, streaming, blogging, etc. The web also enabled the creation of new forms of expression and communication, such as memes, emojis, podcasts, vlogs, etc. The web also facilitated the emergence of new phenomena and trends, such as viral videos, online communities, crowdfunding, e-learning, etc. The web also posed new challenges and issues, such as privacy, security, censorship, cyberbullying, etc. The web, along with the internet, has become an integral part of our lives, and it continues to evolve and transform with the advancement of technology and the changing needs and preferences of the users. Some of the current and future developments that are shaping the web and the internet are the Internet of Things, or IoT, which refers to the interconnection of everyday objects and devices, such as cars, appliances, wearables, etc., that can communicate and exchange data over the internet, creating a smart and connected environment. The cloud, which refers to the delivery of computing services, such as storage, processing, software, etc., over the internet, rather than on local devices, providing more flexibility, scalability, and efficiency. The mobile web, which refers to the access and use of the web through mobile devices, such as smartphones and tablets, rather than desktop computers, providing more convenience, mobility, and personalization. The semantic web, which refers to the enhancement of the web with more meaning and structure, using technologies such as metadata, ontologies, and artificial intelligence, to enable more intelligent and relevant search and analysis of information. The decentralized web, which refers to the shift from centralized and controlled platforms and services, such as Google, Facebook, Amazon, etc., to distributed and peer-to-peer networks and protocols, such as blockchain, IPFS, etc., to enable more privacy, security, and autonomy. The web and the internet have come a long way since their inception, and they have changed the world in many ways, both positive and negative. They have enabled us to access and share information, to communicate and collaborate, to create and innovate, to learn and entertain, to express and empower, and to connect and belong. But they have also exposed us to misinformation, to manipulation, to surveillance, to cyberattacks, to addiction, and to isolation. The web and the internet are not inherently good or bad, they are what we make of them. And we have the responsibility and the opportunity to shape them for the better, for ourselves and for future generations. And that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.